truly never gonna get rid of all this glitter, ever. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So as you probably know, for the entire month of October, I've been doing nothing but Halloween looks, and today is going to be the finale of Halloween 2020. So I wanted to make sure I went out with a bang. So this is gonna be the most over-the-top look that I've done so far for Halloween this year. So I wanted to do a full gown, and we're gonna be doing a moon and stars themed gown for our finale for Halloween. I really wanted to challenge myself and push my skills to the test. I've never made a full-length gown before, so that was my goal for this, was to test out my skills and then do something a little bit different, a little bit more glamorous. I tend to go with like funny costumes for Halloween, so this is very out of the box for me, doing something that's like very glamorous and chic. So let's touch on supplies real quick and then we'll get into the tutorial. For this look, you will need 3 sheets of stiff white craft felt, a wide plain headband, some silver glitter, and some silver stars. I happen to get these stars on Etsy, so I will link them in the description below. Last but not least, you will also need some sheer material with stars on it. I also got this fabric on Etsy, so I will link it for you as well. So this is the gown that I made. So I used a Vogue pattern for this. I'm not sure of the number, but I will link it in the description for you below if you want to use that exact same one. I'm not going to be covering exactly how I made this just because I did follow a pattern, but this is the one that I made. This originally was designed to have a huge bow that covered the bodice. I just left the bow out, so that is the one big change that I made if you do choose to use the same pattern. You could absolutely thrift a dress for this. You could use something you already have in your closet. You can use really anything that you want. I just chose to make a gown for mine because I wanted to test my skills, and honestly, I had bought a pattern that I just really wanted to try. So I just wanted to try that out, and so that is what I did. But you do not have to make your own gown for this. It doesn't even have to be a gown if you don't want it to be, but that is what I am doing. So what we're going to do now that the gown is done is I'm going to be using this really pretty sparkly star material. And I'm going to be using this as a little accent on the bust. So I took my strip of material and I broke this down into strips of about 16 inches wide. This is a bit of an odd width fabric. It was like 53 inches, which is very unusual. So I just cut it up into strips and then put them together to make one long giant strip. And I'm going to be using that to kind of drape over the front, and then it's going to go around my arms and then drape down the back to add to the train. So now that I have this broken up into a like 16-ish inch strip, I'm going to line this up on the front, trying to aim for the middle. So I want these to be about the same length in the back once this is attached. So now that we have that in the middle, I'm just going to loosely drape this until I'm happy with the way that it looks. All right, so I'm happy with where that's pinned. This is going to drape really nicely once this is gathered, but this is too long. I want this to line up perfectly with like the outside of the straps right here. So I'm going to sew a line down both sides. That's just a basting stitch, and then I'm going to gather that up just to shrink this. I want this to be about 6 inches, so about as deep as that bust line is, just so it covers the bust and nothing else. So I'm gonna gather that up so it's nice and gathered and gives like a nice pretty look here, and then it will drape down around the shoulders and down the back. So now that I have this marked, I'm just gonna go in and quickly just sew 2 little basting strips right here just to gather it. So I'm gonna get y'all zoomed in. For this step, I stitched 2 parallel lines right next to each other using the longest stitch length possible on my machine. Once the basting stitches are made, you can gather the material by grabbing one of the loose threads and scrunching the fabric. I also used a ruler to measure periodically to make sure it was the right size. Okay, so now that we have our star fabric is in its strip, we've done the gathering to make it the right size at the bust. Now we just need to actually pin it to the gown, and then we're gonna sew it. So I'm gonna go ahead and pin this on, and then I'm also gonna go ahead and pin it for the measurements that I want for the back as well, and then I can go ahead and just stitch that all at once. All right, so our star fabric is fully pinned on the front and the back. I did go in and add the basting stitches for the back, for the part that was going to attach to the back. I wasn't thinking about it at the time, but when I went to start pinning everything on, I realized that that needed to be scrunched up as well, just to make it the same size as the back panel. So I did the exact same thing I did on the front with the 2 lines of basting stitches, and then just hand gathered those parts, making them about 6 inches wide, and then tacked them onto the back right next to the zipper. So as you can see here, I just have it right up next to the zipper, and then the rest goes down and will go into the train. And then this part's just gonna go around my arms when I have it on. So now that I have everything pinned on, I'm really, really happy with it. I'm gonna go ahead and do some hand stitches just to completely fasten this in place, and then that's gonna be it for the dress itself. But we do have a very exciting thing coming up. I'm gonna be making a headpiece for this as well. So I'm gonna very quickly off camera tack this on, and then we're gonna move on to that headpiece. Okay, so now that the gown itself is finished, we're gonna move on to the headpiece. So for this headpiece, you're gonna need a headband, some little stars, and then I made this little crescent moon out of the white felt. So I just traced out the shapes with some embroidery hoops that I had on hand, and I got this little crescent moon shape. I did cut this out of 3 different pieces of craft felt and then use spray adhesive to glue them together, and then use the same spray adhesive just to put silver glitter onto it. And then I also have some of that leftover floral wire from the flower bouquet video as well, and that is what I'm going to use to attach the stars to this headband. So I'm going to start gluing everything together. I have hot glue gun here, so I'm gonna get y'all zoomed in and show you how I'm putting this all together. I'm so sorry for the less than ideal angle, but after gluing on the crescent moon, I then took the floral wire and wrapped it around the headband and twisted it, giving it a little bit more stability. After doing that, I then took the stars and glued them on by sandwiching them together with the hot glue on the wire. That just makes the headband reversible, so you can wear it either way. Okay, now that our headpiece is done, our gown is done, it is that time again. It is time for the grand reveal. So before we get to that, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you've enjoyed this Halloween series. I'm gonna bring this back every single year. This was super, super fun, and Halloween's just such a special and awesome time. It's definitely my favorite holiday. So I hope this gave you some great Halloween inspiration, or if you're not doing anything for Halloween this year, at least like got you in the spirit of Halloween a little bit. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I do post videos every single week. You can also find me on my Instagram. My handle is So Far From Ordinary, just like my channel. So I hope to see you there, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.